Contrastive linguistics. One important aim of most linguistic theories is to pin down what the languages of the world have in common. For instance, all languages have adjective as a parts of speech. An adjective is a part of speech that modifies, describes, and quantifies a noun or pronoun in the sentences. Today we will speak an adjective in English, and then your tasks will be to identify the Kazakh adjective and then to contrast their distinctions and peculiarities in two languages. In the present lesson we will first be concerned with the types of adjectives. Then we shall go on to distinct general characteristics of adjectives, more specifically morphological, syntactical, and semantic. Bloch traditionally divides adjectives into two large subclasses, qualitative and relative. Relative adjectives express such properties of substances as are determined by the direct relation of the substances. Qualitative adjectives, as different from relative ones, denote various qualities of substances which admit of a quantitative estimation. Adjective is classified into 5 parts as possessive, descriptive, quantitative or numeral, demonstrative, interrogative. Possessive adjective shows possession of a noun by something or someone. It's quite similar to possessive pronouns. Descriptive adjective describes the quality or the type of noun or pronoun. Quantity or numeral adjective expresses a number of nouns. This type of adjective is also known as adjective of quantity, which answers the questions like how many or how much. Demonstrative adjective is mainly used to point out nouns or pronouns. Interrogative adjective is used for interrogation. In simple words, it's used to ask questions like what, where, which. Characteristics of adjectives as morphological, syntactical, semantic features. Adjectives are divided into simple, derivative, and compound. Simple adjectives are adjectives which have neither prefixes nor suffixes. Derivative adjectives are adjectives which have derivative elements, suffixes or prefixes, or with both. Compound adjectives are adjectives built from 2 or more stems. Most adjectives have degrees of comparison, the comparative degree and superlative degree, by the inflection of ER-EST, syntactical way, by placing more and most before the adjective's analytical way. Monosyllabic adjectives usually form their comparative and superlative in the first way, and polysyllabic adjectives in the second way. Adjectives of 2 syllables that end in Y, O, W, ER, LE form the degrees of comparison synthetically. Adjectives of 2 syllables which have the stress on the last syllable can form the degree both in 2 ways. With regard to the category of degrees of comparison, adjectives fall under 2 lexical grammatical subclasses, comparables and non-comparables. There are 2 major semantic categories of adjectives, descriptors and classifiers. Descriptors are adjectives that describe color, size and weight, chronology and age, emotion, and other characteristics. Classifiers as affiliative and topical classifiers. Syntactic features. In the sentence, the adjective performs the function of an attribute and a predicate. Of the 2, the more typical function is that of an attribute, since the function of a predicative can also be performed by other parts of speech. So, you were given given the general classification, the general features of English adjective, and your tasks for practical work will be to identify Kazakh linguists' classification of adjectives and their general rules and principles to form particular facts. The next will be to identify universality in adjectives if the languages have in common and how they are differ from each other. And then identify if there is a distinction in morphological, syntactical, and semantic features. So in the end, you will present your own research of contrasting two languages, and we will be pleasure for your results. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.